Hello there, folks, and welcome to episode 2 of the Dinner Tunes podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone who watched or downloaded or listened to episode 1 with Sean. We had a lot of fun making it, and we hope you guys continue to listen to these podcasts. They're available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, it's available. So yeah, huge thanks to everyone who listened, and also just a slight correction. During the top 20 albums bit, I said that Capra were from Boston. Incorrect. They're from Lafayette, Louisiana. I should have known better. They're a great band. You should check them out if you like angry music. Very, very cool. So today's episode, let's talk about that. We've got Emma Dilemma. We're going across the ditch to New Zealand. My good pal, she's an incredible songwriter and solo artist. Before the Emma Dilemma thing, she was in an amazing band called Decades, which you can find on iTunes. But enough chitty chatter. Let's just get into this. It's a great chat. We talk about all sorts of stuff. It's really cool. Had a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Rock on.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Emma Dilemma, what is going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Nada. How are
Oh,
you?
man, I have COVID, and it's
Yeah, that sucks.
it's gnarly, dude. It's so gnarly. Like,
Is it actually?
yeah, dude, it sucks, man. Like, it is.
Is this the Omicron or
I have no idea.
right? They can't distinguish.
Nah, they don't really tell you. They just go, yeah, you're positive, and
Yeah.
go to hell, basically. No, it's
Retire from society. Thanks.
Yeah. The first 4 days, you feel legitimately sick, like your throat hurts and you just feel gross. Now, I'm still a bit nasally and stuff, but it's just the lethargy, dude. Before I was tidying up because I have 2 small children. And after half an hour of tidying up, I was like, I need to go and sleep for 6 hours.
Oh,
dude, it's brutal, man. It's so
that's
brutal.
crazy.
So, yeah, would highly recommend not getting COVID. If you can avoid it, do your best.
Really? I'm sort of on the fence about it now that we're this deep in. I'm like, if I just get it though, then I'm probably not gonna die, and I might be immune from the rest of it.
Maybe.
Any other developments?
Apparently now for 6 months, I'm like a superhero. Like I can't be
re-COVIDed.
So, yeah. So I'm sort of like, I'm thinking about just, not wearing a mask, not washing my hands anymore. Just going all out, just all the shit that I've been doing for the last 2 years, just going, no, not any of that.
Take a break, take some time off doing all that.
Go stand in large crowds of people, just all that.
Just cough.
Yeah, just cough at people's faces.
People, yeah. Oh, it's like we had a friend round last night, and he's got a cough at the moment, but it's from I don't know where he was on holiday about a week ago. It's really dusty there, and
China,
North Canterbury, but he was around and he just kind of kept doing this real aggressive, every now and then, super loud one-off cough, and me and my partner Moses just kept looking at each other like,
dude.
But then he was like, don't worry, I had a test, it was negative. And I'm like, sometimes it can take 2 weeks to show up.
Dude, it's legit. That's the cough. That's the cough I have.
Just one cough though, just and just that's it.
It's 1, maybe 2, and then that's it.
Oh God. And okay.
So the timeline is my 2-year-old brought it into the house, and we all tested, and he tested positive, and the rest of us didn't. Then 2 days later, we went and tested again, and then it was my wife and my 4-year-old who tested positive, and I didn't. I literally had 6 COVID tests before I tested positive.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that entire time, I suppose you had to be isolated at home regardless, whether you had it or not, because of everyone else.
I've literally been stuck in my house for 2 weeks.
God.
And it's dude, it's only because of the kindness of others. We got friends and family who have dropped around food and because you can't do anything. You can't go to the
Yeah.
shop. You can't do anything. You just
Yeah.
have to stay home. So yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
we're seriously lucky that we have great friends who looked after us,
Yeah. Oh my
which is
goodness.
wild, dude. Which
So it's
is wild.
unsustainable to order Uber Eats 3 times a day for
Oh, dude, like yeah,
a month.
I'm not paying $80 for a large Big Mac meal every day.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
crazy, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah. And
man.
then the added strain, you have to look after kids as well. At least if me and my partner got it, it's just us, There's no I also have responsibilities here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel for you guys.
The worst thing is the kids, our smallest one had symptoms for like a day, and our eldest one didn't get symptoms at all. So for the
Wow.
last 2 weeks, they've just been normal, crazy 2 and a 4-year-old. And my wife and I are sitting here like just nearly dead, going,
Oh man.
can we just leave them outside for like a day and just
Someone come collect these kids.
we just drop drink bottles and food out the door and just let them go for a few hours so we can.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude, it's been pretty crazy. But yeah, COVID's just been such a bummer, especially for the music industry. It's killing like all my friends are in touring bands and stuff. They can't do anything. You yourself have been posting about what's going on in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Was it today that they finally said that they're going to start supporting?
Yeah, there was already some support in place for larger events that were local council related. But most gigs, and it had to be like over 5,000 people or over 10,000 people, something like that. And, a lot of events don't match that criteria. And even if they do have over 5,000 people, a lot of them are council funded, so they can't access that funding. So it's like, what about just everyone else in this scenario? This doesn't seem fair. But yeah, apparently today they've launched some extra bits and bobs, none of it in which I'm personally eligible for. I'll get the festivals that I was meant to play. I'll be able to get some, my fees paid from that and stuff. But I didn't have all that much lined up. It was more just like, for me, the pandemic's like been a real fucking pain in my ass because I'm just trying to start a career, at the solo career, and it's just I can't go anywhere. I can't come over to Australia. I don't even feel like my music works in New Zealand, but I'm stuck basically releasing it here and just hoping for the best because I can't go over to Australia and meet people and play shows there and connect with an audience that I think is actually more my people than what's going on here. So it's just, there's a lot going on with.
I've got to be honest, I don't know much about the New Zealand. You City of Souls and Super Groove are like the three like big, they're my three New Zealand.
They're the three that yeah. What about She Had?
Oh, of course, She Had. Oh my God. I think I counted them as Australian for the longest time.
Oh yeah, most Australians do.
Yeah, we tend to just go, look, you're ours. It's okay,
half of them live there, so half of that band.
They are great though. She Had, definitely great. Lord, I'm not a fan, but I get it. She is amazing. She's an incredible songwriter. So
what about Benny? She's doing pretty good over there, isn't she? Benny? Benee.
Yeah.
Is she a thing over there?
She feels like she's a Triple J.
Yeah, definitely.
Indie, and that's, I don't know, that's just something that I haven't. I hit 40 this year, Emma, and I don't know. There's just something about. Congratulations, you're old. What are you doing?
Graduated.
But it's the whole, I don't know, just something about that. I just don't. You know what it is for me? It's Billie Eilish. I don't get it, and it's
you don't get it at all.
No, and I listen to it and I go, I reckon this is how like my parents felt when they heard me listening to, say, Nirvana for the first time, or Silverchair and bands like that, or Green Day and all those kind of bands. It's like I'm listening to it going, dude, it just makes, like, I can appreciate the talent. I think Phineas is a genius. I think she has this sense of music that I don't get, and that is so rad to me. But it's just not. I hear it and go, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
It's just fine. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of the same. Like I don't go out of my way to listen to Billie Eilish, and I haven't bought any of her records or anything like that. But if it comes on, I like it. There's a couple bangers that I like to sing along to. But
You can jam
yeah, I guess
to
I'm
it.
kind of the same.
Definitely.
Yeah,
When that bass line for Bad Guy kicks in, it's
pretty
good.
wild.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
it's good flat.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So yeah, like I was saying, I don't know much about what's going on in New Zealand, but you definitely, from what I've heard of your stuff, I've listened to the EP and obviously your new single Vulnerability. Is that right?
Yep, that's the
With
one.
dude, one of my favorite film clips of all time.
Really?
Dude.
Amazing.
I'm like Napoleon Dynamite was I remember seeing it for the very first time. I was touring, we're in Tasmania and we're with an American band. This is in the early 2000s. It's like it wasn't even a thing in Australia and they had it on DVD and they were like, you need to watch this movie. And I remember sitting there watching it and I laughed my ass off through the whole thing. And the other guys in the band are like, this is the dumbest shit we've ever seen.
It's not fair.
Yeah. And now it's like everyone's
mint.
favorite movie. And it's so the film clip's amazing.
But it's funny about that not getting things, right? Like we're too old for Billie Eilish, really, but there's a lot of people out there that don't get this video clip, like they don't know what the reference is. So to them, I'm just dancing this pretty terrible dance in front of a school crowd and they don't know the movie reference. But everyone that does know the movie reference, I'm like, you're the best. Yeah.
But I wonder if it'll be one of those things that sneaks through, and as it gets more popular, people will go, I wonder where that's from, and then they'll discover Napoleon Dynamite and discover the
I hope
genius
so.
therein.
I hope people watch more Napoleon Dynamite from it as opposed to listening to more of my music. I'm doing a service for Napoleon Dynamite, John Heder and team.
That's it.
I actually need to tweet it to them. I haven't even sent it to them and seen if,
let's be honest,
if they respond at all.
They probably need the money because I think it's been a while since I've seen John Heder in something. So
I think he did like Napoleon, and then he did like Blades of Glory, like right after what felt like right afterwards.
Yeah.
But then nothing, Don't even know where that goes.
He was a bit part in one movie as well, some romantic comedy. He played like the flatmate, and then it was.
Oh, really?
I can't remember what movie it was, but it was one of those like Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson type rom-coms, and he was the flatmate, and then and now it's just like I haven't seen him in years. Like,
I wonder if he like actually just retired, or if he just can't get work because he can be so typecast.
Well, that's it. I mean, what else can he play? In every other movie, he's been basically a different version of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. You only got one lead role, and the rest is just reiterations of that role in different films.
Man. Oh, dude. No,
I'm glad you like it.
I really do, man. I think it's great. I can't wait for the record. I'm excited. The EP is great.
Thank you.
I just it has this like familiarity in that like you can kind of pick little influences here and there, but then it has this freshness about it. I sound like such a douchebag when I talk like this. But it really does. Like you can kind of hear like, oh, there's a little bit of garbage. There's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And
totally.
But then it's just got this fresh vibe to it. I love how empowered it is. It just feels so fucking good, man. I really dig it. Tell me about the like writing a lot of that stuff and how it all. How did it come about to becoming Emma Dilemma? Because the timeline for you and I is we met on Facebook.
Yeah, how did we actually meet? We didn't meet in person first,
No.
Like at no.
I remember
because I go to Australia a lot, so I'm like that could be the thing.
Yeah,
but
I was in a band called Alabrandy.
Yes.
And I remember either you commented on one of our videos or something, and then we just became.
I reckon like one of us from either of our bands were obviously potentially looking into touring each other's countries, so we're like researching maybe similar bands in each other's country. And I don't know if it was Ash and I was looking to tour over there, or maybe you guys were looking to tour over here, but I think that's probably the context in which we found each other. It seems the most logical.
I think you're right, dude. I tend to.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think you're right, because I know that we were wanting to tour a lot more than we actually ended up touring. But
yeah, same. That's how it always goes.
But then,
it actually costs so much money.
yeah, yeah, and it sucks when you're playing with like 5 people. It sucks.
Yeah.
I've just driven 16 hours and now I'm playing to 5 people in the worst bar ever. So, yeah, it's good fun. It's very.
I reckon that's how we kind of got in touch with each other though. And then I think when I was actually going, no, we're coming over to Aussie, we're going to try and do shows. I think we immediately got in touch about you guys playing with us in Brisbane, which we did do.
We did the Bearded Lady.
Yes, that's a cool little venue, eh?
It's a rad little room. It's still there, still doing stuff. Yeah.
In the Valley, eh?
Yep.
Is it? Yeah.
West End.
West End, that's right. That's right.
So that's right. So that was the first time we actually met. And then the second time we met was, I remember you were doing something down at Loose Stones with Matt Bartlam.
Yes.
And I came down and I think it was you, me, Will from Nine Sons of Dan, Matt, and maybe Shane Graham, or maybe Jay.
It would have been Jay, because I don't know a Shane.
Okay, but we all went to sushi at Burley Heads, and we sat there and ate sushi and talked.
We did too. Yeah. I remember that. Oh my gosh, that's so long ago.
That was a while ago, dude. Yeah,
that's scary.
So I think that was the last time I actually saw you in person. I think you'd come to Australia. I think Decades came to Australia, do some stuff, but I didn't get to.
No, we didn't in the end. But we came over to Melbourne for like 5 weeks to record our album, but we didn't end up ever playing shows over there, which is a shame. But I spent a lot of time before the pandemic over in Australia. I love going to Big Sound. I love checking out what's going on over there. Hence me being like, I'm stuck here now and I'm releasing music. And I've all these like years leading up to this, I was going over to Australia because that's where I wanted to do the thing. Yeah. Not necessarily live there. I love living here, but spend a lot of time there and base a lot of my career out of there. So yeah.
Oh man, hopefully it all clears up and you can come over and be famous over here, because you're going to kill it for sure. So so Ashai becomes Decades.
Yep.
Decades puts out a record.
We put out an album, The Truth in Other People. I think that was in 2017.
It's a very good record. Is it still on streamers and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's still available to stream online, because that's through the record label that I'm with now as well. So they've got their hands on that for a very long time, until it pays itself off, I guess. Because it did well in terms of like the New Zealand market. It did pretty well in rock radio stations here and rock charts. But yeah, we started writing a second album, and I don't know, we just couldn't really figure out where we wanted to go. I think we were happy with the first album, but it was also just like, the first one's always a culmination of all the years that you've been writing songs for, and you're kind of like trying to mash them into a piece that makes sense. Sorry, it's really hot here today and I've got the windows closed because I'm by a street.
All good, dude. It's all good.
And so the second one, we wanted to try and be like more like pick a sound or like pick a direction and kind of write for that. But I think we kind of just lost our way, and it wasn't really working, and we couldn't really agree on liking anything. Then Liam, who's the guitarist and the main songwriter in Decades, started kind of just sending me all of his instrumental ideas that he writes, as opposed to just ones that he thinks might be suiting the direction of what we would do together. Yeah. And then I was gelling with them so much harder. I was just like, no, maybe Decades just needs to go like full kind of 90s pop rock, like alternative pop thing. And then so we wrote like Bounce together, and we wrote a song that's coming out later called Temporary You together. Vulnerability, we wrote that together. But this is also over the internet, because Liam lives up in Auckland, well, he did at the time, and I live down in Christchurch. So it was just more like, when I say we wrote together, I'm like, he sends me like 80 instrumentals, I pick the 3 that I like, and then I wrote songs to them. Yeah. And in decades, Liam would usually write the songs and the music. So this was like a new thing that we were exploring as maybe decades. Maybe I should start getting more involved in the writing. And then I came over for a Big Sound. Must have been 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager, Tom, said that he had met this producer duo that he thinks I should just have a day in the studio with in Melbourne before I went to Brisbane to just see, I don't know, let's just see what happens, do a thing with them. And so I took in Bounce because me and Liam had just kind of written it a couple of weeks prior. And then, spent the day working on Bounce, and it was like so exciting to me. And especially because it was only me by myself, like Liam wasn't there and the rest of my band wasn't there. It was kind of felt like a bit sneaky, but it was just like, let's see what these ideas these guys have. And like Tom, my manager, loved it so much. I was meeting like the new head of my record label at Big Sound for the first time. We played it to him and he loved it so much. And then I guess that probably started to plant the seed in my manager and my label's head of like, maybe she should go solo. This doesn't really sound decadesy, but it's like, we really like it. But it was like still like for a whole year after that. And I kept going back to Melbourne and doing more songs with these guys without the band, but with the intention of we're saving money if Emma just goes and does it kind of thing. And it was like a whole year that we did that for. I went over there and did that for. Liam came over a couple times, recorded some guitars and stuff like that. But yeah, it was about a year later that a couple of the guys had babies, and then Curtis, our bassist, wanted to take a break. He was just feeling kind of jaded by music and his day job and stuff. So I kind of just floated the idea like, well, I feel like more ownership over these songs that we've been doing because I've written the lyrics and I've been the one going over there and producing them and stuff. So how does everyone feel if we just took a wee break and let's see if I can release these solo? Which is kind of like pretty ballsy thing to suggest when this whole like we've been spending money on this. Do you know what I mean? Like the four of us together. But they were all just like, oh, thank God. Yeah, let's do that.
Wow.
It's like the guys knew, like the two guys that had kids, which was Dan and Liam, they knew that they wouldn't, if we released stuff, they wouldn't be able to go on tour and shit. Like they're very committed to what, their personal life plans and shit. So it was just like perfect timing. And that's
Kids
how it came out.
Dude. So
that's why I don't have any yet. I love kids though.
That's what I say to my friends. I'm like, dude, do it if you're like 150,000% sure that it's what you want right then and there.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, dude, they'll ruin your life.
Yeah. And I just finished reading We Need to Talk About Kevin, and that's like really put me off. Do you know that book and that movie?
I haven't read the book, but I've seen the movie. And
so I'd seen the movie a few years ago. It's incredible, right? And then it popped into my head about a month ago. I was like, I actually want to read that. I know it's based on a book. I wonder how like brutal the book is, and it's so much worse. It's so much worse, and just like because it's written like it's letters from the mother to her ex-husband, and she's writing about what went wrong with their relationship and how she's blaming it all on Kevin. But like her letters are just like right from the get-go. Even when I fell pregnant, I knew I didn't want this baby and it just didn't feel right, and he was going to be born like a demon piece of shit. Like it's just like, oh my God, I don't want that to happen to me. I don't know if it's worth the risk.
You're going to have Damien, son of Satan,
I'm going to give birth to the next fucking,
the next Antichrist.
Just the next Joe Rogan or something. I don't know. No, he's all good. It's just
Rhodes, man.
Good timing.
It.
Oh, he really is. It's like when we were talking about COVID earlier, I was like, oh, we got to be careful here.
Yeah.
Are we spreading misinformation?
Oh, yeah.
Just by being like, this is my experience.
I just watched the Trevor Noah video where he kind of responds to the Joe Rogan thing. It's probably the most leveled, measured response about the whole Joe Rogan, Neil Young thing that I've ever heard. When you finish,
I'd love to see that.
Go
you
watch
could flip
it.
Me the link.
Yeah.
Because I love him. He's bloody good as well, Trevor Noah. He knows his shit. Does his research.
I really didn't when he first started doing that daily show, but he's really grown on me, and I really love where the show is now and his role in it. I think is
because he took over from Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Is that yeah?
And what like
big boots to film.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's like, whoever took over from Letterman was always going to have a real hard time, like having
Who did
that
take
same-
over from Letterman? Was that?
Colbert.
Oh yeah,
Stephen
yeah, of
Colbert.
course. Yeah, of course.
Who's great in his own right. Like he's
Yeah, I just like in my head, I just see that as a completely separate entity from the late night. Yeah, interesting.
So I mean, I'm glad that he's been able to build that brand and be able to take it to his own thing. But Letterman, I used to stay up in Australia just to watch.
Did
Letterman.
you?
Oh yeah, I love Letterman. He was the man. He's so funny. My type of sense of humor, real dry and
I love the back and forth between him and Schaefer.
Oh yeah,
Schaefer, yeah.
Yeah, and what a musical genius that guy is. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wild.
Those shows are great, but I think they're like all, back when we were younger, I was just too young. My parents wouldn't let me stay up that late. So all I've got is like YouTube, like throwbacks.
There were some musical guests that they had on that though. That was the first time I ever heard St. Paul and the Broken Bones. You heard those dudes?
No.
They're like this soul Motown with this they're all white boys but this guy sings like Luther Van, he's just got this big Teddy Pendergrass type gravelly soul voice. And I remember seeing him for they'd never put out a record and they went on Letterman and did a song and it just blew my mind. I just went and chased them and they finally
amazing.
put stuff out.
I wonder how they got that opportunity as well.
Well, I think Letterman and Schaefer are massive music fans, so they don't they'll have all those all the have to artists on.
Yeah.
But then every now and then they just go, no, we want that guy,
let's give someone an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit like the comedians, there's so many stand-ups that went on Letterman that, were nobodies and they went on Letterman because they, those guys thought they were genuinely funny. So yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I absolutely. So basically, Decades kind of goes on a break. For somehow, the boys are okay with you taking songs and spending money, which is.
I was expecting I literally called this meeting at my house. I need everyone to come over, and I honestly drank a whole bottle of wine before they came over because I was so this is not gonna go well, and they're gonna be literally 11 years of that, but it wasn't. They were just makes sense. Oh man, I did not need that wine.
It might. Oh well, a bit of Dutch coke.
Well,
hurts anybody. So it's. I think that's awesome. I being in a band is it's so tough, dude. I would have if I had the, if I was good looking enough and had enough talent, I would have gone solo years ago. But I don't have either of those things.
Both those things. Those things are subjective.
I'm not talented enough. But no,
I think that all the time.
It's very much like being in a band is a young man's game, and it's an ego-filled game, and that was one of the things. Even in Alabrini, we didn't have that many egos, but we were trying to write record number 2. We had the same thing. We had record number 2, and it was some of us wanted to take it in one direction, some of us wanted to take it in another direction, and then eventually we wrote I think it was 15 demos for a new record, and they all just ended up on the floor. It was just nothing ever happened with it. And which is, I mean, I'm not, I don't know, at the time I was a little bit sad about it, but now I kind of look back at it and go, man, it's not like we didn't give it a shot.
And what you did do and achieve still exists, and you can look back at that and listen to it and see it for the rest of your life, and as long as whoever's your progeny until the world ends. That's cool.
And then we all die, and then it doesn't exist anymore. So so who are the dudes you were working with in Melbourne? Are you allowed to say who they are?
Yeah, definitely. There is a production duo. They're called Le Savage, and that is Harley Webster, who is a hip hop and rapper, hip hop artist, and he goes under the name Phrase or Big Phrase. So I think he was doing quite well, in the thousands, in the 2000s, early 2010s and all that kind of stuff. And then the other side of the duo is a guy called Alex Markwell, who plays guitar and produces for the Delta Rigs. Or he plays in the Delta Rigs.
Yeah, I have
so
a friend who
really
plays in the
interesting
Delta Rigs.
combo. Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Good band, bloody good band, good
very
chaps.
good band. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're together as a production duo called Le Savage, and they were doing lots of like electronic and dance stuff and remixes of bigger tracks. I think through Harley's like success in his career, he has quite a lot of connections. And so they were getting asked to do remixes for some like really major international artists like Mark Ronson and stuff like that.
Wow.
And and I just came along and was like, can you do the like kind of hip hop thing, but kind of like weird, like Oasis-y dude rock thing, but then combine it with my like I love pop music, but I also love like grunge music thing, and can we just kind of see what comes of that? And it worked. I like it anyway.
Dude, Bounce is such a great track. I love it. I actually that was a question that I really wanted to. I've been meaning to ask you, and I've actually wanted to ask in just general conversation. But it feels like the songs feel like there is so much, like you can tell that you've studied under like incredible songwriters. So like take me back to young Emma. Like what was some of the music you grew up with, and what inspired you to like start writing songs, and like who are some of those artists that maybe your parents got you into and all that?
Yeah, well, I grew up listening, like my favorite artist when I was a kid and still is now is Michael Jackson. Like he's my number one. I love that guy. I love his music. And so there was a lot of that going on in the home, but also my dad basically religiously and exclusively has listened to Steely Dan like forever. He doesn't really listen to other stuff. Like he might dabble in a bit of Eagles, listen to America and stuff like that. Bread, I don't know, Bee Gees and stuff. But like, but pretty much exclusively Steely Dan all day, every day in my household. Which they're great songwriters. They go very sideways, and it's jazz, and it's a bit more complex than like Michael Jackson, I guess, and top 40 kind of buzz. But those, I would say, they're like my two biggest like just background constant influences in my life. I was never drawn to songwriting. I never really, I mean, I wrote silly songs when I was a kid with my friends and stuff like that. But even when I started playing in bands when I was like 15 or 16, I just really wanted to sing and play guitar. Like songwriting just never really was a interest for me, or a passion, or something that I felt like I had to do. I think I developed an interest in songwriting through working with Liam, and he's just such a prolific songwriter, and he's got a great way with words that I think I just naturally kind of like osmosis to that over the course of us working together for 10 or 11, 12 years, however long it was. And when I realized that I liked the debut Decades album, and it was fun to record and it was fun to tour and stuff like that, but I don't really have any connection to the songs. I don't feel any sort of passion about them. I think that's when I said to Liam, hey, what, if you could start sending instrumentals, I'd like to see what I might come up with or have to say.
It's strange too, because I got to tell you, especially on the song I Was With Him, that to me, like that felt, because I know you a little bit, and it kind of felt like I was hearing something that maybe what's the word? When you accidentally eavesdrop on a conversation, and you hear something and you just go, oh, I should not have heard that. And it kind of, if there was some real, I felt very real, dude, that particular song.
That particular song is quite interesting, because when I say I didn't write, I'd never write from scratch or just like bring a song to Decades or to Asha and be like, here's an entire song. It would quite often be Liam wrote an idea with some really vague lyrics, and if I could try and connect to them in some way and twist them around to feel like they meant something, we'd work on altering them together. But I Was With Him came about quite interesting because we were already in the studio. We were recording the Decades album. I think we're about 3 or 4 weeks into it, and we'd recorded a song called The Truth. And we really liked the way that was sounding, kind of more like disco beat, and like, I don't know, And so we're like, let's take a few days off tracking and let's see if we can write any other songs that kind of are down this vein and might end up trumping a couple of the other ones we had in the pipeline for the album. And part of the whole Tom Larkin's process as a producer was like, in the first week, he basically sat us all down in a circle and we had to like be vulnerable and just talk about things that might be concerning us right now, or worrying us right now, just in life, not like about the album recording process. And I'd just broken up with my partner of 7 years, like a few months prior, and had started dating my now fiance. And it was very whirlwind, and I felt very guilty about the way that the previous relationship ended, and the next one started quite intensely, quite passionately, and quite publicly in front of my ex. And so I'd talked about that a lot. And so then a few weeks later, when we were back in there just trying to write new ideas, Liam had like the night before written the song about, from my perspective, about that whole situation.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's how amazing he is. He like I think he's like a savant empath. Like he actually like gets in your head and he knows what's going on for you. And so he wrote a verse and the chorus, and then he was like, "What do you think of this?" I was like, "Fuck, that's pretty intense. Is that about me?" And he's like, "Yep." And then I was kind of like, I think I can take that and write the rest of the lyrics, because he'd given me that groundwork to inspire me to open up about that topic.
Yeah.
And he'd already put the melody and the guitar riff was there. So it was almost like he was kind of guiding me into being like, you can do this too. Like, that song in particular, very interesting. My parents hated when I released that song.
Oh, really?
They're like, how could you do this? Like, how could you talk about this stuff and blah, blah, blah. What if your ex hears this song? I'm like, well, he probably will. But isn't that what music is about? Like, we're meant to be expressing ourselves and our truths. And
Isn't Taylor Swift been doing that for like 15 years now? Like,
yeah, exactly. But I think it was just equally as shocking to my parents because they're like, you haven't done this before. You don't write songs. Like, now why are you putting this one out here that's so savage against, this guy that we still love? Yeah, it was pretty intense, but they get it now. I mean, now they've got to deal with things like Bounce. So it's, it was all downhill from there.
it's Bounce is a particularly what's the word? It's a very in your face clip. The core, the song itself, I love it. I think it's great. I thought the clip was, I don't know if I was supposed to find it hilarious, but it's
you definitely were.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. It's like I said before, it's super. I feel like it's empowering feels condescending to say, but that's how I kind of look. I was just kind of like, man, here's a just a girl just goes, I don't care. I'm just gonna put,
it's literally
is the shit I like
to be like that.
This is what I do. Just deal with it.
Yeah, and fuck it. Just do whatever you feel like. Be naked on the internet. It doesn't have to be like these rap video clips, and we're not hypersexualizing it. We're just being weird for the sake of it and trying to make people laugh and entertain people. And
it's good.
I'd gone through like this big thing during the first lockdowns of not like I hadn't started releasing anything yet, but I knew that it was the release kind of program was going to start within the year, and I just hadn't been photographed or videoed or anything like that in a really long time, since decades like last press cycles and release cycles. So I started taking all these self-portraits of myself in lockdown because there's nothing else to do, and I just thought it would be a good thing to get used to seeing myself on camera again. And I think that's kind of why the Bounce music video idea came about, because I'd gotten so used to putting myself out there and getting used to what I look like again on film and in camera, and learning to stop like nitpicking apart my body or wanting to Photoshop things and stuff like that and be more real, that I was like, I should just do this in video form and just be naked on the internet with like no body makeup, no fake tan. Like you can see my tan lines in it and stuff, and like everything's flying around when it's like slow-mo on the trampoline, and just like kind of just put that in video form and publicly on the internet as the official video for a song.
Oh, dude. I think it's a great.
I can't believe
move,
my
man.
label let me do it, but
well, that was another question I had was like, what when you do you go away, cut that video, and then go to the label and go, here,
what do you think? Nah, I wanted to film like 3 or 4 music videos back to back. So because my director that I quite often work with, or she's just a friend of mine, but I wanted to work with her again on the Emma Dilema stuff. She didn't live in my city at the time, so it was going to be cheaper to fly her down for a week and just try and bang out as many videos as we could. And I already knew what songs, kind of the label and I had agreed with that we wanted to be the main singles. And so we just ended up, well, I just ended up coming up with an idea for like all of them. And then we had a meeting on Zoom because this is pandemic times as well. And I just literally told them the idea for each song. And my A&R guy was pretty concerned about Bounce just because he was going through some eventually going to be public kind of Me Too buzz. So he was worried that people would think that he made like it was his idea and he wanted me to do that and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I like hand on heart, if that happens and people question it, I will like be like, no, this is all my idea. Scott had nothing to do with it, blah blah blah. Because he was still like, the idea is brilliant. I'm just warning you that it could come across not so great for these reasons. But nothing ever came of it. So yeah.
Okay.
They just approved all my ideas basically. They expressed concerns. But like I said, my label kind of is just like, you can't, like you're just being you, and like that's kind of cool. We don't have to tell you what to do. We don't really have to guide you. But if you're going to do anything problematic, we'll pull you up about it. But they're pretty much keen to just let me kind of be Emma Dilema, which is really awesome.
I was going to say it's probably the sign of like you've signed to the right label. If you can walk out of there with a clip and an EP and a record that you just go, that I actually made the record that I wanted to make, and I made the video I wanted to make, you know, because a lot of artists, new artists, I mean, you've been around for, in bands and stuff for a while. So, like not a lot of artists get afforded that opportunity. Most artists get told exactly what they have to do. And, they get told where to be and who to, and it's,
what to say, interviews and stuff.
Well, I got friends who are signed who now don't own their name.
That's mental, eh?
Like the label, like they can't do anything under their birth name because the label owns it. Isn't that wild? Like,
I would never sign a deal like that. It's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, but if you want it so bad, you kind of just, what do you do? Like,
that's the other thing about modern artistry, the modern music industry, is you kind of actually can do it all independently now if you've got enough cash. And also, I would say that, I don't know, I don't explicitly know how much Warner spends on like sending out publicity things about me or whatever. But I honestly think that if like I could crowdfund and probably have like done it all myself. It's just that I'm also have another business. Me and my partner do marketing and stuff, and it's like I got time for that. I don't want to like do my own PR and do my own publicity. I happily have like this real nice little record deal with like people are doing that for me, and I don't have to worry about saving up money for it and stuff. But you can do shit independently now, and I think the dream of being like, I want to be signed to a major label or to any label, it doesn't really need to happen if you've kind of got a bit of smarts and creativity, a little bit of money, but also just more importantly, good fucking songs.
Yeah, I think it's finally starting to become, for a while there, it had nothing to do with the song and it had to do with, but now I feel like you have to have a great song. It has to stick out. It has to stand out. It has to be a great song. Or otherwise it just, because I feel like for a while there was a lot of stuff. Do you remember when it was only a little while ago and it was like Coldplay did a song with the Chainsmokers, and then Bieber had a song that sounded exactly like and it was all that sort of that, you remember that vibe, and it was like everything sounded the same.
Same.
And then, go back 2 years and everything had a similar sound and blah, blah, blah. And now I feel like, and I mean, maybe it's, maybe we do have to thank Billie Eilish and people like that who just started creating just whatever they felt like, their art needed to be, and what was going on in their brain. And and now we, I mean, I think the other thing too is I think you have to be exceptionally savvy with social media. You have to know how to manipulate algorithms and things like that. I think that's, if you want to be a decent independent artist that makes money, that's, especially now when you can't tour, you can't, like you can't just catch a plane to the US and book a 50-date tour and sleep on people's lounge rooms and stuff like that. You can't do that at the moment. So it's like you've got to find ways to manipulate the TikTok algorithm and all that kind of stuff and get your shit out there.
God, that stresses me out so much.
Dude.
Like I feel like I'm good at social media, and also it's kind of part of what me and my partner do for other clients. Like we help them with digital marketing campaigns and stuff, but algorithms and especially whenever someone mentions TikTok, I just like kind of crawl into my shell of like, God, how are these kids doing this? It's so stressful. Can't I just make the music and release it? Why do I got to go on TikTok and like do a dance about it or something?
It's weird, man. So weird.
I'm all for like TikTok being there for like funny skits and stuff, but the thought of like using it to everything you do on it is to promote your music and just try, I don't know, it's so stressful to me.
Well, people are now purposely releasing certain songs because they're going to become a TikTok trend. Dude, it's like, it's so gnarly.
Yeah, and every time I'm gearing up to release a song, like, the label asks me what like 1 minute or where I want the TikTok clip to start from in the track, if someone went to search on TikTok to use it in their song. And like I still think about that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'd go through all the lyrics or just listen to the song and the vibe and just go, what as like a person who loves producing music videos and films and content, what would I like to produce like a silly clip to out of context from what the actual song actually means and is about? And so I still have to select that stuff, but then I don't go and like make TikToks for it.
What's the line in Is It Bounce where you go, is it everybody else
can go get fucked?
That's your TikTok clip right there.
Yeah, I tossed up between that because the one that I actually ended up using for that song on TikTok is in the middle, like when it says up and down, in and out, and just like kind of does the Michael Jackson breathing. Because I thought you could imagine kind of people like ducking up and down from things and like in and out from things as well,
nice.
Without a context of it being like, I don't know. So it's interesting.
The only social media that I've set up for the podcast is TikTok. So
wow.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not doing Facebook. I'm not doing Instagram because so basically the podcast is called Dinner Tunes, and
cool
because I post photos of vinyl and I tag it because that's the only time I usually get to listen to vinyl is when me and the family are having dinner. And so I'll pop a record on, take a photo of it and post it as Dinner Tunes. And so I'm just going to leave. That's if you want. Yeah, that's it. But TikTok's it. So I might have to find your sound. And I'll make a Dinner Tunes podcast about TikTok using that.
Do it.
Very, very cool. That's what we do, man. That's what we do around here. Fuck social media. That's what I reckon.
I know.
But it's a must.
I also can't get off it.
Yeah.
I love hate it.
I watch so much TikTok.
Do you?
Dude, it's wild. When I first got it, I deleted it straight away because I opened the app and it was just... You could tell. No, it was like 15, 16-year-old girls dancing. And I instantly just felt gross. I was like, no. And I deleted it. And then my little sister, who's 29 now, she was showing me some videos and I was like, where is this stuff? It's really funny. And she's like, it's all on TikTok. And I'm like, I'm not going on there because I'll end up on like a list, like I'll end up on someone's watch list. And she's like, and she taught me how to actually use TikTok. And now, man, my feed is ace.
Yeah, it's bon appetit.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I just end up going, if I go on TikTok, which is never, it's only usually if like my label asks me to do a TikTok. And then I'm just like, oh God. But yeah, once I'm on there and because I'm creating one or whatever, then I'm just like find myself fully sucked down the rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
it's wild. It's wild. It can really do some damage. I've spent hours.
God, there's some hilarious stuff on there though. People are genius.
Yeah.
People are fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the
And they'll
world's
be our stand-up comedians. You know, that's modern stand-up
that's it, man.
comedy, and that's
That's
modern.
it.
Yeah. I
I
like
mean,
it for that. For music, I'm like, no.
although I've found there's a couple of pages on there where they've pointed me in the direction of bands that I would have never heard before had it
Yeah,
not been
true.
for these guys. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty cool in that, you know. But there's a lot of bands on there who just they do it really well and they know
Yeah.
how to connect with the audience they want.
Yeah.
And man, they smash it. They do it.
There's a metal band here in Christchurch, and like two of the guys from there are so funny, and they always make these like videos just on their private Facebook page or personal Facebook pages and chuck them up. And every time I see them, like, why aren't you putting these on TikTok as like your band, as opposed to just like, oh, Stu just posts this funny video that he just killed 3 hours today just doing this silly thing. It's like that should be a blindfolded and led to the woods TikTok. Like that is fucking funny. And he's just like, oh, I don't want to do TikTok. I'm like, you got to.
Yeah, man.
Ah. Yeah.
He'd be
Yeah.
famous.
They
So
would be.
What band are they in?
Blindfolded and led to the woods.
Blindfolded
They're
and led to the woods.
They're a Christchurch-based like death metal band. They're
Nice.
absolutely brilliant. Yeah, they're bloody good.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing quite well at the moment. Yeah, they just signed. Oh, I don't know what the label's called, but it's an international heavy label. You probably would have
Right.
heard of it if I could remember what it was. Not really my scene, but
Nah.
good guys. Known them since Ashai days. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they come to all my gigs as well. It's really cute.
Rad. I
Yeah.
hope this pandemic ends soon, man, because I really
Oh.
I want to see Emma Dilemma live because I see clips on Facebook and things like that, and I just go, it just looks like such a fun time. It looks like such a fun show. I loved the little variety shows you and Moses did during the height of the pandemic. That was so rad.
Temporary RIP to those, but they'll be coming back, but probably just not as frequently because doing them every week was getting pretty hardcore. Yeah. And then like it also starts this thing like me and Moses are like partiers, so then it's like, well, now we're drinking on a Tuesday because it's fun because we're doing the show, and then it's like band practice on Wednesday, well, now we're drinking on Wednesday because you know and then Thursday there's a gig, oh no, you know, and it's just like doing that on every Tuesday. It's like really hard to, I find it hard to ram myself in, so I just like, you know, just get a couple bottles of wine and stuff. It was damaging in more ways than one, but we do miss doing it, and we will bring it back eventually, but just like monthly instead of weekly.
I think a nice monthly show would go down a treat.
Yeah.
You used to do a bunch of covers in there, one of which it was a band that I didn't think anybody else knew, which is Another Sky.
Oh, we were listening to that the other night, actually. Not my cover of it, but that band.
Yeah.
Again.
Did you listen? Yeah. Did you hear the record that they put out?
I honestly had no idea who they even were, even are, because that was one of the like requested covers, and it came from a viewer of mine on Twitch who's in the UK, and he was like, "Please cover this song," and I was like, "Thanks, I really like this. It's really bloody good."
She's got such an incredible voice. Like I thought it was a dude when I first heard them, and then I saw them and just went, "Oh no, this is even better." The record they put out was 2020 it was, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called I Slept on the Floor or something like that.
Yeah.
Dude, it was my record of 2020. It's so
really
damn good. Yeah, man. It's
wow.
Like it's just these really well put together, perfectly written pop. Like, dude, go listen.
I'm gonna check that out. Absolutely.
Please do. Are you a vinyl collector? Do you buy records?
Not really. I just got a record player for my birthday last year or the year before, and so I've slowly just accumulating. But I spend a lot of my money on clothes, and so like vinyl's going to be something that I slowly develop that habit. Maybe actually replace clothes with vinyl eventually, because clothing is not sustainable. But
it's a vicious habit, dude.
Slowly, but I mean that's why I wanted to like do my record on vinyl, because I do love the format, and I love that you have this big beautiful physical thing and you like take the time to listen to it, and yeah, I enjoy chucking on my records.
Being an
that I do
old school
have.
music fan like you are, that was what draws me into vinyl, is the fact that you put it on and you have to listen
Yeah,
from at least one side, start to finish. You can't just, I mean, you can
can't
pop to your
skip.
favorite song, but it's
Yeah,
way harder. It's easy
yeah,
just to put it on and let it go.
yeah.
See, one cough,
Oh my gosh, that was the cough.
COVID, dude. I'm telling you.
Oh my god, I've got COVID.
Two, damn it.
No, but it's still just like one at a time
Yeah,
though.
it's
It's
just
not
one
like
big.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, it gets wild.
Oh my gosh. Oh god. I'm gonna have to check on my friend. Are you sure?
Go get tested.
Yeah.
What was the first record you bought?
In general, like vinyl record.
Yeah. What was the first? So you got your turntable. You went and bought your first vinyl. What was it?
Well, because I got it for my birthday, I also requested because people asked me what I want, like family members, I mean. My mum and dad and my sisters went in on the player, but my fiance side of the family, they asked, what I wanted for my birthday, and I said it'd be cool if you could find a couple Michael Jackson records for me or Steely Dan records for me. So yeah, the first three I got were Asia, Steely Dan's Asia, Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, and Michael Jackson's Thriller, but it's like a picture vinyl. So like the album artwork's like printed on the vinyl. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
those are
got
my first three.
Let It Be picture vinyl.
They're so cool.
They're very
I
cool.
really like them.
I like the picture discs. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
I've got that one. I've got Sam's Town, The Killers picture disc, and the Rage Against the Machine.
Nado's gonna die of coughing. The Rona is taking over.
I'm gonna stop for a minute.
All good. Yeah, picture this.
So before we were rudely interrupted by COVID again.
The bastard.
No, we were talking about picture discs.
We were.
No, but I'm so stoked that your record's coming out in vinyl. I saw that and just went, oh yeah, I'm gonna have me a piece of that, because I got the EP. I got the EP on Apple Music, and it's
yeah. So that's kind of how the vinyl actually came about, because I was meant to release the whole album on my birthday last year. Oh no, at the end of October actually. And then New Zealand went back into this lockdown again, like a quite aggressive one, and it was like, well, I'm not going to be able to tour it, and I was also feeling a lot of burnout, because when I started releasing songs at the start of the year, I was like, I'm releasing every single song off my album, and every single one's going to have a music video, and I'm going to release one every single month. And like seemed like a really cool, exciting idea at the time, but then I got incredible just overloading burnout, because I was also doing my money making job at the same time and just trying to balance life and stuff. And so we made the decision to put off releasing the full album until we kind of knew what was going on with the pandemic. Well, that we're never going to really know, are we? But at the time it seemed like the logical thing to do, give me a break, and then just package up what I'd already released as like a side A EP. But up until that point, I'd still been pushing for vinyl, like I really wanted it, and just my label couldn't really make it happen like cost effectively, and it just wasn't looking good. Like they were like, it's going to cost you way too much money. We're not willing to pay this much for it. And because the production times are so long on it now, New Zealand's got, a really popular pressing firm where a lot of international orders are coming in, because a lot of pressing firms overseas closed down because of the pandemic. But because like we put the album release date off by another quite a few months, I just reapproached the conversation. I was like, you know what? I got way more time than I thought I did now, and I just want to run a crowdfunding campaign. I'll put some of my savings into. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care if I don't make money from it. I just want it. Like it's like I want my debut album to be on vinyl. I just want it to be there, and yeah, that's kind of how it ended up actually being able to happen. And because the production time on vinyl as well is 6 months, so it bought me that extra 6 months, and now it's going to be ready by the time my new album release date is. So I'm very, very excited because
Oh.
there was a time there where I was resigned that I wasn't going to be able to have it. And it was just like,
It's
makes sense.
one of the dreams. Like, I would love
Yeah.
to put something that I've that I've written or created on vinyl. It would be insane. I would love
It
to
was
do
such a
it.
deal breaker for me to like not have it that I was like, I'm not going to let this go now.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's the only medium that's actually making money.
Yeah,
know, like-
totally.
Can't make CDs because they don't sell.
Mm, yeah.
Streaming makes you no money. So it's like,
exactly.
Put
And
it
then
on
people like
vinyl.
have it and it's a reminder in their home forever until
Yeah.
they throw it out. Or sell it to a pawn
they
shop.
just sell it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's good, man. So when is it out?
May 6th.
That's it, May 6th.
Yeah,
I'm
May
so pumped.
6th.
Can't wait.
Me too. I can't wait. I can't wait to get my test pressing, which should hopefully be in the next few weeks. I can't wait
Look.
to get to play it myself in private. Yeah.
Let
it's
us
gonna
know
be
how it
awesome.
goes. That'd be
I
rad.
will. I
All right.
will.
Before we go, I've got a couple of like I don't have to answer them quick, but they're just a couple of questions that I just want to
Okay.
rattle off. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there's a fire in your house and you got to grab an armload of records. What are you grabbing? If you're a vinyl collector and you have, thousands of records. What are the records
okay.
you're grabbing?
I was gonna say if this was literally tonight, I'd just grab all of them because I've only got about 12. But if in theory I owned every album that I've ever loved on vinyl right now, ooh, that's quite hard actually. Probably Hayley Williams' latest album, Pedals for Armor. I'd definitely take that.
It's a great record.
All of my Michael Jackson records and all of my Steely Dan records. And if I had anything that was collectible or like limited, then I'd obviously grab those because they'd be worth lots of money. But yeah, just my favorite artists, I reckon. I love Hayley Williams as well and Paramore. So
That that Pedals for Armor is such a great record.
yeah, it was my favorite in the year that it came out. Don't know if that was also
Yeah.
2020, but
Yeah, I've not been a huge Paramore fan since Brand New Eyes. That was the last record of theirs I really liked. I thought the others after whatever it was, after Laughter.
well, they went way less emo after that, really, didn't they? Way less
And
kind of alt rock.
I love the emo.
Me
I'm an
too.
emo kid from way back. So Pedals for Armor was beautiful.
Out the gate, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so talented. So yeah, I'd grab that and then all Michael Jackson and all Steely Dan and anything expensive.
Yeah. Maybe have you got any Biffy yet?
I do, and I haven't bought any Biffy myself. My record label know how much I love Biffy Clyro, and they're also on their roster as well. So every time they release something, it shows up as like a gift in the post to me. It's really awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. Such a good perk.
That last album, the one that's here.
I haven't got that. I haven't got that one actually. They didn't give me that one. But I've heard. I actually haven't had the time to sit down and listen to that like front to back either. But I like a few of the songs off it.
It's their best record since, I dare say, Opposites.
Really?
It's really good, man.
Did you see, you know how they were meant to like go on this world tour and shit after they released that latest one, but instead they did that like pre-filmed thing at that arena? Did you watch that?
So good.
That was amazing. I remember I was just lying in bed watching that and just being like, what is happening?
I think they're one of they probably are one of the best rock bands going around at the moment. Just
absolutely.
The way their brain works with rock songs and the fact that they do stuff in 5/4 and switch it up and don't play conventional rock is just so rad.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're definitely my favorite band. Yeah.
Definitely. All right. What was the first album you bought with your own money?
Oh gosh. What would it have been? I reckon okay. I'm thinking like back to my actual childhood, but I'm like, absolutely not. My parents would have bought those for me. I think it would have been when I was like full emo mode and I bought the Used and My Chemical Romance's album at the same time off Amazon, and it took like months for them to come over because back then online shopping was like this major like slog of time and shipping. And it was Three Cheers to Sweet Revenge. And what was the name of the Used album that was out at that same time? It's got like this white cover with the heart hanging from the tree.
In Love and Death.
Yeah. Those two at the same time. Yeah. And then that started a whole thing for me. Like after buying those two and they arrived, I was like, I've got to own all of the CDs. And then I just go hang out at the CD store like once a week. My friend worked there and just buy all the latest emo CDs that he recommended.
Did you
never heard of this emo band, but cool, I'll buy this.
Did you do the thing where you'd go through the liner notes and you'd see all the bands that they thank, and you'd go through and just buy like
and just be like, I'll get that. That's probably how I discovered bands like Emery and I don't know. Emery is actually a massive one for me. That was one that I really discovered from doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, most of it was my friend who worked at the store. He was a bit older than me and into that scene as well. So he'd just be like, you got to get this. Because obviously he'd be listening to shit all day, every day at work. So yeah.
Did you see that? You know that Emo's Not Dead. You know that guy on.
Oh my god! I would love to go on that cruise.
Oh my god. Emery,
I'm like, Mom, I wish I could be there. I would love that. I would love that. Oh my god.
Oh, absolutely. All right, first song.
Get me over there.
First song you heard that made you want to play music.
Ooh. This is probably kind of embarrassing. Well, it's actually not. I'm not embarrassed at all, but other people might be surprised. But I would say, have you ever heard of a little Brit pop boy rock band called Busted?
Oh yeah.
I think when they first came out, What I Go to School For was their debut song. Yeah, and I was like,
go to school for.
Yeah, I would have been like 3 or 4 years into like learning and playing guitar at that point, but it was like that was the first time hearing like pop rock. I think that was like my launch point from like Michael Jackson and pop, and then it was like Busted. That was like I can play guitars in pop music, and then like onto like emo and then getting heavier and heavier as but What I Go to School For is like yes, and then I set up this like ultimate guitar account called Busted Chick, and like all of my Busted tabs were the most popular on ultimateguitar.com.
Hell yeah. You probably taught me how to play that song.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Best live show you've ever seen, international, and then what's a local band that lights it up when you see them?
All right. International best live show, Biffy Clyro. All day, every day. I've seen them multiple times, and every time is just as good as the last, if not better.
Yep.
So that's best show. Best show local. Oh, that's really tough. There's so many.
You can go through a handful if you want. There's no time limit.
It's going to be like my own show. I love my own live show.
Well,
I'm always like, fuck, my show must be fun to watch. Just because I'm just ridiculous and saying stupid shit and dancing, and my drum is amazing and my guitar is amazing. But there's actually this local band here in Christchurch that they're just starting out, and I really like watching them perform live when I can, and they're called This Dog.
Okay.
They're like, there's 6, or maybe there's 7 of them. I think there's 6 of them. Like quite young, like university age guys. And they just always look like they're having so much fun on stage, and that they're all genuinely friends and like, look at this thing that we're doing. This is so cool. And yeah, I really enjoy watching them. It feels inspiring.
Rad.
Yeah.
Did you, just totally off topic, did you ever see City of Souls play live?
Yeah, I went on tour with them. Well, Decades went on tour with them, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that record that they put out last year or the year before.
Synesthesia?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Dude,
yeah.
that thing is...
It's pretty meaty, eh?
It's so good, man.
It's got so much going on.
It blew me away too when I went on their Facebook page, and I was like, surely these guys have got 7 million followers, and they had like 1,400 followers. I was like, what the hell? Like, these guys should be the biggest band in the world at the moment.
Yeah, the thing is, do you know much actually about them and like where they're kind of the origin story?
So I know they come from like 2 or 3 of like New Zealand's biggest metal bands. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. Yep. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like why their followers are small, but why they just seem so like absolute top of their game because they're all
Yeah.
so experienced. And
That vocalist can sing. That everybody can play. It's just it's wild. It's very very wild.
Yeah.
All right, last question I got for you, dude. Hey, what's up? Where can we find your shit? So where can we find Emma Dilemma stuff?
in the toilet. No, www.imagelema.org. Just everything's there. Just it links off to everywhere else, and it's still nice and like little package. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We don't do it enough, and we might
I know.
try and catch up with you in May once the album comes out and
Yeah,
chat
that'd be
more.
awesome.
Because yeah, it's been really fun, and hopefully we get to hang out in Australia soon.
I wish. Fingers crossed. Fingers
Dude,
crossed.
it's gonna happen, man. It'll be
I'd
fun.
love that.
Yeah, man. We'll come and
It will.
hang out and drink wine.
Yeah, go get some sushi.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Emma Dilemma, thanks so much for being on Dinner Tunes. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you so much for having me there. It's been awesome.
See you soon.